FM, Abuja.
Afternoon and welcome to the Citizen FM News at noon. I am Lawrence Omoite. National Economic Council on Thursday suspended the planned removal of subsidy on petroleum products by the end of President Muhammad Buhari's administration. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, disclosed this while briefing State House correspondents at the end of the National Executive Council meeting, presided over by Vice President Yemi Oshibajo at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. According to the minister, the National Economic Council meeting concluded in its meeting that it is not a favorable time for the action.
Which means it will not be removed before the transition is completed. That's what it means. But then we have two laws that have inadvertently made the provision that we should exit by June. So if the committee's work, which will include the representatives of the incoming administration, determine that the removal can be done by June, then the work plan will be designed to exit as of June. But if the determination is that the period needs to be extended, it will mean that we will have, as a country, will have to revisit the Appropriation Act, for example, because the 2023 budget only made provision up to June. So if we're extending beyond June, it means we have to revisit the Appropriation Act and do a supplementary or amend the bill and also the PI.
Meanwhile, some governors also discussed the 2022 flooding, which was the worst in recent history.
Comprehensively, their own report and their losses, and 20 states will bring within next week, so that we'll compile and then submit to our next chairman, who will now also discuss with the Presidential Committee on Flooding, so that the two documents will be synchronized and relief will be sent to the victims.
During 2015 to date, the country went into economic recession twice. That is a big temptation. And a lot of financial engineering came into play under the chairmanship of the Vice President. And we came out of two sessions. You cannot do or perform without resources. And the resources are very, very scarce. And the contending needs are there, they are so enormous.
The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, says the alleged allegation of loss of over $2.4 billion from illegal sale of 40 million barrels of crude oil is baseless. He said that this on Thursday when he appeared before the House of Representatives ad hoc committee, which is investigating the matter. According to Malami, after investigating the allegation, it was observed that the origin of the crude allegedly lost in China was unknown. This was communicated to President Buhari. The AGF also informed the lawmakers that details of the whistleblowers, as requested by the committee, cannot be disclosed at a public hearing because it breached confidentiality and indeed the whistleblower policy.
Yes, are baseless. The allegation is unfounded. It's lacking in merit and indeed lacking in substance. It is in its own right, the allegation, devoid of any reasonable ground, pointing to a material suspicion and cogent enough to invoke the constitutional oversight of the committee. Accounts associated with the recoveries, generally speaking, are being been opened on the request of the Office of the Attorney General and then opened on the directives of the Office of the Accountant General. As far as being a signatory or in any way being responsible in the management of such accounts is concerned, the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation is in no way connected whatsoever.
President Muhammad Buhari says the fighting power of the Nigerian army had progressively increased since his regime began in 2015, making it one of the strongest in Africa today. The president, who spoke at the Nigerian Army parade of troopings and presentation of colors in Abuja, said this has made it the fourth in ranking among African militaries as against the seventh in 2015.
This administration has facilitated the approval of manual for financial administration, which has greatly enhanced the pay and allowances of troops. This has no doubt boosted troops' morale and enhanced their zeal to discharge their constitutional mandate. Furthermore, in line with my resolve to cater for the families of deceased personnel, over 50,000 children and wards of personnel who died in active service are on the Nigerian Army scholarship from 2015 to date.
The president-elect Bola Tinubu has admonished the All Progressive Congress governors to work with the party to avoid precipitating a leadership crisis in the National Assembly. Bola Tinubu asked the governors to work with the party leadership and lawmakers on the election of principal officers of the National Assembly. The ex-Lagos State governor spoke on Thursday during a meeting with the Progressive Governors Forum members who visited him at the Defense House in Abuja. The president-elect agreed with the suggestion of the governors that consensus candidates should not be picked, rather the position should be zoned.
The president-elect will direct, as they think is to the best interest of not only the country, the government, and indeed our great parts. First of all, he's been zoned, had to be zoned. When it's zoned, then you go from there. That's what happens. Once it's zoned, then look at who are using the tool. The person must be very loyal to the person that's in charge. He must know how to be. Who will pick must be someone that
The governors also restated their faith in the incoming administration.
What he's promising. He had been on campaign trails across the country and he has associated on that. So President Aswaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has offered renewed hope for the nation, and I believe we will see more of it.
We should pray, and we should cooperate with the government and wish the government well, so that the government has very, very good intentions, fantastic intentions to uplift the lives of the people of this country too.
And for some foreign stories now, as violent clashes in southern Sudan continues, UNICEF is highlighting the dangers of children if the current ceasefire is not respected by all parties. Millions of vulnerable girls and boys need immediate humanitarian assistance, and all children need to be protected from harm. At least 9 children have reportedly been killed and more than 50 injured during the fighting that erupted on the 15th of April.
It continues to get less and less secure, and it was essential that non-essential staff were brought out and the dependents. The situation in Sudan, even before this crisis, was bad. Huge humanitarian needs. This is only going to make the situation worse. Over 15 million people needed humanitarian support before. I suspect that number is going to double, if not increase even further.
And that's the Citizen FM News at noon. I am Lawrence Umoite.